Come on, is that stuff ever going to end? It's like we just get over one controversy and we get into another. People are tripping. Black folks are tripping, you know. I mean, the Dynasty guy, he did make a comment, I guess, about gay folks. That was the most extensive, how they were tearing apart the country and the godless country and destruction and blah, blah, blah. Come on now. And then he made a comment, he also made a comment in that same interview about black folks being, that black folks were not unhappy prior to the civil rights movement. And he just said no. You know, I think sometimes, we're taking for granted African Americans in this nation because we are so docile. And I guess it's fortunate for some that we're not like the black folks in the African and Middle Eastern nations that would hold 1,000-year grudge. And because you did something to my great-great-granddaddy, I'm taking out his great-great-grandchildren, you know, the ones that perpetrated against my family. That we're not like that. So I think what we've learned over these hundreds of years in this nation is to look at a glass that's half and still find some joy in it. We can take the garbage of a pig and make chitlins out of it. It tastes good, you know. Take the garbage of a pig and make ribs taste good, you know. And so they can look at our ability to cope with the situation and mistake that for contentment, okay? Let's not us fall into the same myth, okay? Let's recognize that we always need to be striving to become better. I always find it interesting, though, how many people get up in arms about stuff like that. Now, as far as African Americans, come on now. Why are we still tripping? Come on now. We have a black president. Let folks say whatever they want to say whatever, just trying to get a rise out of you. Come on now. Don't worry about it. Now what you can do is you can make sure you spend your money, you know, in places that appreciate you. I think that's what happened to Paula Deen when she was caught making some comments or some remarks, or people begin to get a picture into her mind, what kind of person she was, and she was all into a whole world of mess. Why is that? That's because we're in a free market system. It's because the invisible hand. It's because companies recognize that their only existence is based on the consumer, what the consumer's desire is to purchase. And as a people, if we determine that, you know, these folks don't like us, so why are we going to patron their particular products or establishments? That's why those businesses got rid of Paula Deen, because no matter how folks feel about black folks, money is still green, okay? And money is why businesses are in business. And I remember when during the first election here in Dayton, I believe there was a heating and air conditioning company that was Republican thinking. And when the Tea Party came about, they were like, okay, they were going to give a discount to all of their customers who were Tea Party supporters, okay? And that hit the news. And man, it was like the next day, all kinds of people were canceling their business and dropping their business with this little company. And the company went out on the news and put a really quick advertisement out there that we take it back, we retract, we were wrong. We're not going to give a discount to those folks, because they recognized that everybody who wasn't Tea Party, who didn't embrace the Tea Party, they weren't going to give them their business. And man, trust me, there were a whole lot more people that were not embracing the Tea Party that were customers of this business. And he found that out PDQ pretty quick. And he retracted that quickly. Businesses know that they don't want to ostracize any group of people. And so I was on the internet the other day, and I guess some folks that were really supporters of Dynasty were saying, I thought we had free speech in this nation. And, we do have free speech in this nation. That guy didn't go to jail. But as well as the freedom of speech, businesses also have the freedom to fire or hire who they will, okay? And so you can't have one freedom without the other, unless you're feeling entitled, you know. But that is simply the reality that there is freedom. There's freedom of speech. I've been in nations where you don't want to speak up about that. I've been to East Berlin. I've been to places where you have to be very, very careful of what you say or do. I've been in countries where there's martial law after midnight, saying you don't want to be caught out on the street. I've been in nations where there are no freedoms, okay? And so we have freedom of speech here. That guy isn't in jail. But freedom cuts both ways. It's just not in one's benefit. You have to act right and do right. And recognize that you have freedom, but so does everybody else. I think that's the problem we have in this nation, even especially with like the freedom of religion thing. It isn't about freedom of religion for most of the people ranting and raving. It's about freedom of the Christian religion. Okay, come on now. If it was really all that, nobody would have tripped so much when those Muslims wanted to build that mosque down there by Ground Zero. Okay, so all this stuff about freedom of religion, that's some pretty cheap talk. That isn't real. A lot of times it's like freedom for racism or something, you know. There's something usually else behind all that, you know. And so, yeah, I find that being tickled by that. And as African Americans, we don't need to fall into that. We don't need to get angry about all that stuff. We won. Come on, now. We were playing a football game or a basketball game, and you beat the pants off of somebody, and then they're just calling you names afterwards. Is it going to bug you so bad? Now, if you lost, and then they were calling you names, you know, I can see where you can get kind of mad. But shoot, after you dust them, like these last two elections, come on, man, go ahead. What else? What else you want to call them? Go ahead. Just laugh about it. Because you know where it's coming from. You just beat them. Come on, compare it to a game that you're playing and that you won. So this ain't no time. There's no time for that. You know, there's no time to be getting upset. And when I'm saying there's no time, there's really no time. Because that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is this, is that when you recognize, as I stated earlier, that glass half, as African Americans, we kind of see it as being half full, even though it's half empty. that we need to, that's a survival technique. That is half empty, and it is half full, but it is half empty. And so it's half empty to the point in this nation for most African Americans that half emptiness is not enough to satisfy us. It's not enough to take us to the end of the month. Okay? But being happy or not being unhappy, still whistling and singing and dancing, it's sort of a survival technique, which is why we don't often commit suicide. Well, not as often as other groups, okay? Because we have to survive. We were at work. I was at work the other day, and I was talking to this white lady, and she was so upset about management because of how they were talking to her. And she was like crying to me. And I'm like, that's it? You couldn't have been a black woman and survive. That's it. That's driving you crazy because you can't take it anymore because you don't like the way they talk to you. Come on now. You got to survive. And I found myself trying to express to her from an African American perspective, trying to give her a coping mechanism like, look, you're still here, you're working, you're making a lot of money. They're not really making you do anything, they're just talking to you harshly. That's it. Come on now. We've been survivors in this nation for so long. But we have to take survival to another level, okay? We can't just survive. We don't have to just survive. There are ways for us to come up out of this thing and to be well. I work at a place, and I've been there a while. I've been there a while, and I've been there like 19 and a half years. And I guess I came on at such a time that things weren't that bad, but now it's very difficult for new hires because new hires are like being abused. You're very poor management. People have inability to manage, and they don't really know what they're doing, so they're coming out very harsh on these new employees, these younger employees. When I say younger, I mean from like age 35, on down to like 25 or so. And I see the African Americans in there, especially where I work, 4 of them in particular. It's like they're miserable, but they see no hope of a future. They're not getting paid that much, but they figure it's better than nothing, so they allow themselves to be abused terribly. And I understand it because they've created situations in their lives by decisions they've made that have put them in situations like this. I was just speaking to a girl the other day, the daughter of one of my wife's friends. And she's at UCLA. She's an artist. And it was amazing. I talked to this girl for about an hour. It was just a blessing to speak to an educated young person. She's only 18. When I say educated, she's a freshman, but she's just so sharp-minded, so focused, and like my son who graduated from UC last year, to speak to him. It's always a pleasure for me to speak to young African Americans that have it going on, that have something going on up here, that have a plan, they're walking a plan out and doing what they need to do. Now, they don't totally know exactly where life is going to take them, but they're on the right path, so that they're creating options for themselves, so that they will have options. Young people today, it's a lot different. A lot of negativity out there, just walking and jiving. I know they don't use the word jive today, but just participating in street stuff, street slang, street jargon, going out and drinking and smoking, getting high, doing these type things that have no real, that's not really creating an avenue for them to have options or choices, which has created situations in their life right now, which is why they have no options. I'm an individual, that type of environment myself, created a negative situation for myself, but fortunately for me, 20 years ago and 30 years ago, the situation, the financial, economic situation was not as dismal as it is today, so I was still able to be well, but that opportunity doesn't exist today for people who today are making the same type of decisions that I was making when I was that age, okay? And so I've taken these 4 young people, and I'm like, you need to make some decisions. There are opportunities, there are investment opportunities out there, real estate opportunities out there. This young brother, he's like 35 or so, 34. He was like, I got so angry one day, I was so frustrated, I just went out and bought a car. He already had a car. But he just bought a car. His finances are jacked up, and he got a car. I got a car payment. The other car was paid for. Think about that. This is what we do as African Americans. We just, I don't know, we didn't have any teaching, we didn't have any training. We don't know about business. We don't know about assets and liabilities. We don't know about buying things that create money versus buying things that take our money. And so we're spending all of our money trying to look a particular way. This cat has it's a real sharp car he got. And when he's out there driving, nobody knows his financial situation. They're just saying, man, look at that car that guy's in. And that's what we live for as African Americans. Because our life has been so dismal. And we always have to survive. Look at that glass as being half full. And that has kept us alive. But it's not kept us well. What I'm saying is the glass that we've been given is a glass that is half full, okay? This little girl that I was speaking to at UCLA the other day, she's an African American, she's raised in this city, her mama black, her daddy's black. She's given a glass, I think we've all been given a, here we go, unless you're just filthy, wealthy, rich like the Hiltons or, some of these other folks coming up, you're given a full glass, but most of us, we've been given a half glass. And in this society today, we have an educational system that is free to young people, public school to go to all of their lives. And I know we have a lot of issues about public school, I know I do, but the reality is some people come out of public school and they go on to higher education and they become all right, okay? What I'm suggesting is everyone then in this nation, for the most part, is given a glass that is half full, or somewhere, it's got something in there. But then it's up to us to fill that glass up to the rim if we want to, and we can. We can take ourselves out of the rat race. We can take ourselves to a point of being more comfortable, at least having our bills paid and not having to scrape and scrounge and wonder how things are going to, the next month, and living like that all of our lives. Life isn't supposed to be like that. It doesn't have to be. But because of the situation that African Americans have had in this nation, for the most part, we've been survivors. We have been smiling. We have been laughing and joking, even prior to civil rights. Why? Because we have to survive. But I'm suggesting today that we need to take this survival, ratchet it up a little bit. As I've been mentioning in every program for the past 5+ years since Obama's been president, is that looking at Obama should give us all the realization that there is something more that each of us can do that we probably never thought that we can do. I know I did. I got my associate degree in his first administration. I'm working on my bachelor's degree in the second administration. I'm making other moves that are going to have me in a particularly financially well situation simply because I've been inspired by Obama. Not just the man Obama, Barack Obama, but the idea that a black man could rise to the highest echelon of authority in this world, in this nation, in this world, the presidency of the United States. That has worked the opposite in a lot of minds of a lot of white folks, but it should not have. They should not have, it's more like, oh man, that's something else, Okay, they got the sports, they got the Jackie Robinson, they got the Arthur Ashe, they got the baseball and the basketball, they got the sports. And of course they got the entertainment. Then they got the military, we got the Colin Powells, we got the Benjamin O. Davis, we got all these, we got the Condoleezza Rices, we got the offices in the political realm, high echelons. But we still got the presidency. And boom, what happened 5 so years ago? Black man became president of the United States of America. So that in all fairness to a lot of white folks, it must be some sort of trauma. Because you're looking around at folks that were once slaves in a nation, and now most of them are equal to you. And many of them are beyond you. And some of them have attained levels that you will never attain. And so that must be kind of traumatizing to an individual whose whole race of people was a step ahead of another entire race of people who have caught up and surpassed them. So my heart does go out to white folks in that respect. That must be sort of a trauma to recognize that your great-great-grandparents gave you this gift and you've squandered it, and now everybody's got, So I understand that. But see, if I was white, I wouldn't be looking at that. I'd be looking at it like, man, if a black guy could do this. See, I wouldn't be looking at it, first of all, as the white race, if I was a white guy. I'd just be looking at it me as an individual. I'd be saying, if this black man could do this, why can't I? And what I'm saying is, this is what black folks need to be saying as well. If this black man can do this, I'm black. Why can't I? Right? For real, Barack Obama should be an inspiration to all of us. Not for us to sit around, as I've heard some brothers lament, man, he ain't giving me nothing, I didn't get nothing. Gosh, please. Some of y'all know what I'm saying. Please. He's giving you more than anything anyone can. Come on, to teach a man to fish, or to give a man a fish. Of course, it's a lot easier and a lot lazier for somebody to give you a fish, but for somebody to teach you how to fish. Not just to teach you, because before you can teach someone, you have to give them the belief that they can do it. This man has said, you can fish for yourself. Now, just learn how to fish. See, that's why even through up through slavery, it was illegal for a black man or a black person to read. They didn't want you reading. They didn't want you to recognize that it wasn't all that hard, okay? They didn't want you to see that. But you could see that. That's what I find so disturbing and distressing at times. Some of y'all know I'm a mailman in West State. And I delivered Dunbar High School in that area. And I see these kids always in the principal's office, or, getting ready to see the principal in trouble. And I also see kids, and they're sitting there like they're cool, like they got it going on. And they don't know they're screwing themselves. With a smile on their face. I see the kids that are playing hooky from school, that don't go to school, that are running, from the truant officers. They really have those truant officers. I don't know if that's what they call them, but I see them out there. It's like they're running away from their own future, Man, you've been given such grand opportunities to be such great things. And we're squandering them. Just to imagine, just for a moment, that black folks were actually killed for reading books. And now we're playing hooky from school. How stupid is that? That black folks didn't have the opportunities to go to school and get certain educations, better educations. Go to better schools. This girl was at UCLA. We have opportunities like that, man. There's this, my son, I remember when he was at Chaminade, he would tell me about this one particular boy who was in some of his classes. My son kept his nose to the grindstone. He made some mistakes here and there, but he kept his nose to the grindstone and finally did what he was supposed to do. Graduated, international business marketing and all. This kid that I see on my mail route, the kid doesn't know me. I see him sitting on his mama's stoop with his pants halfway out his behind, smoking a blunt. That's his life. They were in school together. These are the kind of things I see. So look at the white folks and the black folks. Positive and negatives of both. I see white folks so many years ago at this level higher than we were. And then as time goes on, black folks caught up. Middle class black folks. And then surpassed these white folks, many of them. It wasn't the black folks' fault that so many white folks today are suffering. that these white folks made. Just like my father begged me to go to college, but I refused to, and I went to boot camp at 17. What could I have been if I had just listened to my father? So the limitations on my life, I can't blame them on somebody else. The fact that I'm in the position I'm in today is because I didn't listen to my dad. I didn't make some of the decisions I should have made. Fortunately, and because of the economic conditions back then, I didn't have to suffer as much as folks today that make decisions such as mine. But I created those situations. The white folks that have not progressed well have created their situations. But when I'm seeing it in the black community today, those that are simply getting high, those that are simply drinking, partying their money away, partying their lives away, the kids playing hooky from school, getting high in school, getting pregnant, making babies, all this stuff. They're the architects of their own demise. They're not going to make it. I believe all of us at this time, white folks and black folks, as individuals, everybody has an opportunity to get themselves together. Find a way. Buy some books. There are all kinds of books out there, Rich Dad, Poor Dad books. Google that on the internet and just buy one of those books and just read it and allow it to open your eyes, enlighten yourself to recognize that there is more. To me, Obama was the catalyst, but that just didn't stop there. Then I began reading and researching and finding out other ways that I can get myself even to a better place, that I can put more water in that glass. So that although I was handed a glass that was half full, and then I lost a lot of the water because of my lifestyle, I'm able to build that water and fill that glass up. We can be well. I'm trying to start some meetings starting at the beginning of the year. Sort of, I don't want to say investment club because that just sounds so corny and almost kind of elitist. I'm in an investment club. I don't want to go there. I just want to help our folks just to be well. So I've got my eye on 4 young people between the ages of 23 and 34 that I'm trying to mentor and help get to a place that they can get themselves out of the rat race, the mess that they're in, and just create a great future for themselves. And see, as you know, many of you know that I was a minister for 17 years at juvenile detention. And I always felt when I was there that, as I would speak to maybe between 30 and 70 kids every week out there, that even if you just reach one person, just one person's life would change. And if they had 3 kids, and they were able to impart a newness that they garnered from me into those 3 kids that they wouldn't have had I not been there. And then those 3 kids may have had 2 kids each, and then those 2 kids of each might have had 3 kids exponentially. I mean, come on, you're talking about millions of people just from reaching that one person. If the world survives for that long. And so what I see right now, I just have a small group, and I want to help. And I do believe what goes around comes around. As you begin to help folks get insight, as you begin to teach folks a particular thing, it sort of solidifies it and brings back to you some prosperity, some positiveness. So that is not my goal, but I believe I will garner that in the process. This is where 2014 is going to start. I'm thinking about creating an offshoot to this program. I don't use bad language. So I'll bleep it, but maybe the title of the program will be Money Talks and Walks, and I go beep right where the bad word is, but maybe call it that or something, I don't know. But I think that there are opportunities out there for us to be well, financially. The only problem is it's going to take some decisions first. There was an old saying that I heard from an investor that if you want to get yourself out of a hole that you're in, first you need to stop digging, okay? Man, calculate all the money you've spent on alcohol in the past 20 years. Calculate all the money you spent on weed in the past 20 years, all the money that you just spent on alcohol, all the money you spent on weed, all the money you spent playing the lottery, and all of the money maybe you spent going out to nightclubs and clubs, all the money you spent on unhealthy foods, all the money you spent on clothes when you didn't need more clothes, all the money you may have spent on new cars when you didn't need new cars, all the money you've blown. Think about that. And I'm talking to myself right now when I'm talking to you. It is a reality. As many of you know, I don't lament over my past mistakes. I believe that this is where I'm at, and this is where I start to get to where I need to go, and I'm totally fine with that. But we do have to look at our past to sometimes maybe give us some inspiration and motivation, and try to calculate how much money you've spent with all those things combined. And it's probably enough to have bought maybe 5 or 6 investment properties, okay? That's what I'm saying. And so that's okay. Just don't do it anymore. Stop drinking. Stop smoking. Take maybe the next year, 2, 3, or maybe 5 years to say, I'm going to just focus on this particular goal and I'm going to accomplish it. And that's why I think it's important even to come together with a meeting. And that's what I'm going to do. And you can give me a call if you want to, if you want to join this thing as I set this up. We're just starting this. This is the first of the year. But I think we can encourage each other, give insight to each other. Not trying to make money. This is nothing like network marketing. Network marketing people, the people are invited, but the concept is not. I've been there. That's not what I'm talking about. To me, network marketing, it's good to practice your salesmanship skills. I used to give a presentation every week. But as far as the concept, that's somebody else's business. You're helping them make money, and you're working a whole lot of overtime. So we're not even talking about that. If we're talking about your own money, we're maybe buying an investment property, how to buy one for real, how to find a bank-owned property, and maybe how to flip it for real, and where to find people to help you, and maybe then make $800 or so a month off of it. That's an investment. That's an investment property. If you can do that 5 times 800, 4,000, you're making $4,000 a month. Okay. That's like $40,000, $48,000 a year. And you're talking about if you're incorporated, that's it's taxed less than you would be taxed as an individual. So if you're making $48,000 a year in a regular job, it's more if you have your own business and you have a couple of investment properties, and you can build that, say, in a few years maybe. Just walking slow, taking it easy. But the thing is, what I have learned, I think I learned this from being a mailman for like 19 and a half years, is that sometimes, we want to get rich quick. That's what a lot of times the network marketing things do. You try to, get everybody clapping and shouting and everything because you got to make a lot of money. We're all going to do this. Show pictures of Hawaii, show cars, and show all this stuff. See how exciting, right? That was like right on time. And we're going, and so, I'm going to get rich quick. And you find that after a while, you don't get rich quick. Okay, so that's not about getting rich quick. What I found as a mailman, that if you look at, I have over 400 stops on my route. Okay, if I think about getting all those 400 houses, man, it will freak me out before I even start that morning. But if I just hit the first house, and then go to the next house, and just one step at a time, one footstep at a time. Don't worry about the end. Just do the next one, do the next one, do the next one. I get there. I get to the end when I'm supposed to be there. And that's how it is in finances, because the reality is you're going to be here 5 years from now. You were here 5 years ago, and you're here today. You'll be here 5 years from now. And if you're not, it won't matter anyway, right? Let's just take care of business. I know some of y'all made some mistakes. I know I made many. But it's never too late.